Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, UFC Fight Night, Grasso vs. Shevchenko 2 wrapped up last night, and we are going to go over this card from start to finish, the early prelim opener, working our way up. I try to go through the earlier ones a little bit quicker, so we can spend more time on the co-main event, the main event, things like that. So, let's just get right to it, dude. Josephine KNUTSSON versus MANN. Now, credit to whoever, I can't remember you guys' usernames, but you were in my chat yesterday and the day before telling me that Josephine KNUTSSON was legit. I said that I was just a little skeptical of her due to the level of competition she's been facing. Some of the girls on her record, very inexperienced. I mean, much like herself, to be fair, she's only 6-0. But you guys were correct. She doesn't just have kickboxing skills. She also has grappling skills. She also has takedown skills. So whoever you were, credit to you. If you want to throw it in the comments, I'll give you some credit in the comments also. I do have a few small criticisms for her. Now, some of her decision making was a little bit strange in this fight. She was doing very, very, very well on the feet. MANN only really landed a couple of check right hooks on her and didn't really have anything for her in terms of striking. But KNUTSSON on multiple occasions started taking her down. Now, maybe she was bothered by the check right hooks, or she just figured I can take less damage this way. But I kind of wish she would have pushed for a finish a little bit more. Now, to be fair to her, MANN has the head of Tito Ortiz on a woman's body, which is just absolutely insane to see, okay? But she definitely showed tons of skills, and a girl who's coming from kickboxing, considering her grappling is very good and much improved. And it's going to be interesting seeing her go up the rankings of the strawweight division, seeing her compete against girls that have UFC experience, because MANN was also making her debut. She looked phenomenal on the feet, and even in the one area where you thought MANN might have the edge in the grappling, because she does have a couple of submissions on her record, Josephine KNUTSSON showed that no, she's got the advantage there also. So a few weird decision making from her in the moment, and even her corner was kind of giving her shit for it, but it is what it is. It was a good win. Pretty goddamn dominant overall, all things considered. So credit to Josephine KNUTSSON, and credit to you guys telling me about her in the comment sections. Keeping an eye out for them women contenders, dude, because not everybody wants to do that. Do you know what I mean? So good on you guys. It's a good call by you guys. Moving up the card to Alex Reyes versus Charlie Campbell. I said Charlie Campbell would knock him out in the first round, and he did just that, dude. Alex Reyes, he's the older brother, so we now see where Dominic Reyes' chin comes from. It's unfortunate that he had to inherit the chin of his brother Alex Reyes, but almost every single shot Charlie Campbell landed was hurting Alex Reyes, and he had almost nothing for him. Obviously, Alex Reyes, 36 years old, hasn't fought or competed in 6 years, so I didn't think it was, not ideal. So perhaps he's just trying to finish his contract and, move on to something else. But it was a great performance by Charlie Campbell. Very quick, nasty KO, and credit to him. Great performance by him. He actually got performance of the night bonus, which, you know what, I like to see the guys on the early prelims, the guys on the prelims get these bonuses, because their paychecks are a lot smaller than the guys on the main events, right? So there were a few guys on last card where I thought they could have gotten performance bonuses, but most of them were given to the guys getting the big paycheck. So it's nice to see Charlie Campbell get a bonus out of that performance, because he definitely deserved it. Moving up the card to Tracy Cortez versus Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS. Now, Tracy Cortez been very inactive, fights once a year, and she must have been training like a madman, because she improved significantly in the striking department. Her boxing looked a lot better than it has ever looked before. She had pop on her shots. They were fast. Her hooks were on point, man. And Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS really didn't have a whole lot for her. Jasmine was confused by the decision. Now, the 30-27s I would be confused by, but not the 29-28 clear Tracy Cortez. And I picked Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS to win, because I thought that she looked phenomenal against Miranda Maverick. And Tracy Cortez has been very inactive and has showed a few times that maybe not the most mentally stable. I don't know. There were a few times where I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure there were a few times she pulled out due to like anxiety and things like this. So I just thought that inactivity, and personal things going on and things like that, that she might not be able to have a good performance. And Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS has been very active, looked good in her last fight, was doing tons of damage. Now, there were some things that I thought Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS could have done more of that would have maybe edged out some rounds. Like her front kick was landing pretty good to the body, but she wasn't going to it a whole lot. And it would have kept Tracy Cortez kind of out of boxing range because Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS is a bit longer than Tracy Cortez. But it was a good performance by Tracy Cortez, and credit to her. That was actually, dude, all things considered, that was a really good fight. That was a war. They were both beat up by the end of it. Neither one of them showed any signs of like wanting to get away or get out of there somehow. Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS grabbing the braid of Tracy Cortez was not ideal. Tracy tried to stop and protest, but not to the referee, just to Jasmine. And instead of doing a goddamn thing, when you're down on scorecards, so maybe her corner was lying to her, she just stood there and yelled at her. Like, Tracy Cortez is briefly not paying attention to the fight. She's got her hands down complaining about you grabbing her braid, and you just want to yell back when you're losing. It was strange, but good performance by Tracy Cortez, dude. Really good. So, single Tracy Cortez is a new mythical fighter or some shit, because she looked the best I've ever seen her look. So, moving up the card now to Edgar CHAIREZ versus Daniel LACERDA. What an unfortunate moment, man. I understand, like, fucking hell, dude. This was unfortunate. Edgar CHAIREZ looked very good on the feet. Very good on the feet. He was landing good shots. He then showed that it's not just Tatsuro Taira who's going to be able to take him down. It's also other guys. And Daniel LACERDA is not like some extremely high-level wrestler. He does have good grappling abilities, but he's not really a guy known for doing that. He's usually on the feet doing crazy shit. Do you know what I mean? So Edgar CHAIREZ is going to have to work on some takedown defense. Now, he does have a very offensive guard, but Daniel LACERDA wasn't having any of that, right? He wasn't getting caught in a triangle or an armbar or anything like that. He gets put in what looked like a Darce at first, but then it was an anaconda choke. So the problem is that CHAIREZ would have had to start rolling to get more leverage. I don't think that Daniel LACERDA would have gone out from that. That was a very strange one, because the way he did that with it, letting his arm go limp, shades of Robbie Lawler, Ben Askren. Like, it was a weird moment, man. What I didn't understand, if I'm Chris Tognoni in that second, or in that instance, okay, you see the arm go limp. Look, we're in a choke. A couple extra seconds is not going to be a big deal. He's not going to die. He's not going to, like, do you know what I mean? Just a couple extra seconds. I'm not saying let him get strangled for a minute when you think he's unconscious, but a few extra seconds. Chris Tognoni is on the side of Daniel LACERDA's arm, which was free, so the one that you would see the tap with initially, right? When you see that go relaxed, just take a step over to the other side where you could clearly see Daniel LACERDA's face. Do you know what I mean? Just go look at his face. There are some chokes, some submissions where you can't see the guy's face, and all you have to go based off of is the free hand. But in this instance, you could see LACERDA's face. But Chris Tognoni saw the arm go limp, panicked. And this is kind of like a new culture. I get it that we don't want to see guys take extra damage, but every single one of these guys, and girls for that matter, sign up to take damage, okay? Like Elise Reed. Do you know what I mean? Like, thank God Tognoni wasn't fucking in that one, because he might have panicked not wanting to see an arm get broken. These guys sign up for this shit, okay? They're not gonna be upset if you let them get choked out for a couple extra seconds. Like, they're just not. So take the 2 seconds it would have taken to take a step to the side, look at LACERDA's face, and if he looks out on the face and the hand, then fine, it's understandable. But I feel like Tognoni did kind of panic a little bit here, and it's very unfortunate. Edgar CHAIREZ having it overturned. Daniel LACERDA's lost 4 in a row, and then this was kind of like a saving grace for him, because I don't know, man. It was just, now I got one thing right. I said it wouldn't make it out of the first round, but yeah, that referee, man, what the fuck are you doing, dude? These guys sign up for this shit. Do you know what I mean? If they tap, they tap. If they want to go to sleep, let them go to sleep. And just because someone puts their arm limp doesn't mean they're going to sleep. Look, if you're in a choke where your arm is caught in there and you're raising your arm trying to peel, you're almost crushing the other side of your neck. It's almost better for you to just let it go limp. If you feel in that choke that maybe your oxygen's a little bit limited, but you're not going to go to sleep right now, why not just relax, let dude blow out his arms, and then eventually try and work your way out of it? But it's just unfortunate all around, because Edgar CHAIREZ or whoever would have eventually won that fight. That's the no contest thing bugs me, man. I would almost leave it as a victory because you just fucked two guys out of their win bonus. It's unfortunate, dude. But a saving grace for Daniel Lacerda, right? If he doesn't get cut and they run this back, that's a dude just fucking won the lottery with that one, because if he would have lost this fight in the first round, he would have absolutely been cut from the UFC. But either way, man, unfortunate all around for both guys. And the referee, dude, don't panic. These guys are fighters. They want to take damage. Chill the fuck out. Moving up the card, 2, Roman Kopylov versus Josh Fremd. I said Roman Kopylov would get the KO. I didn't think it would be a body shot. I thought it would be something off of a Josh Fremd takedown. But holy fucking shit, Roman Kopylov is fantastic. This dude is incredible. I mean, really. His takedown defense looks so good. He has gotten so much better in the short amount of time that he has been in the UFC. This guy is a savage. His striking is so good. And, dude, Josh Fremd, for a moment, this is the thing, dude. When you are not as high level of a striker as a certain guy, you can look okay for a couple minutes. Once they start making the reads, once they start getting what they want to know, you're not processing information the same way. Eventually, they're gonna run away with it, okay? And Josh Fremd was unable to get the takedown the way that I said he would be, because I said that Roman Kopylov's defense has improved significantly, not just the takedown defense initially, but getting back up. I said that he was going to have to close the distance to even get to the point where he could take a shot, and Roman Kopylov was not letting him do that. A lot of the shots that Josh Fremd took were definitely out of range. Kopylov just had to back up, barely even had to sprawl, really, just kind of pushed the hands on the back of the shoulders there. What a fucking performance. This dude was just battering Josh Fremd. Josh Fremd looked huge compared to Roman Kopylov, and Roman Kopylov was like a bully, dude. Like, give me your lunch money type shit. Just everything he landed. I can't believe Josh Fremd didn't go down from either of those head kicks. Credit to him. The body kicks even, nasty, hard as fuck. He had huge welts all over his abdomen there. It kind of reminded me of Jan Blachowicz versus Dom Reyes. What a performance. I can't wait to see this guy continue to move up the middleweight rankings, because with that, when you see a striker with like that high of level, you don't usually, the defense for the ground doesn't usually come along with it. It's just that they are able to make it difficult for you to close the distance to even get to a point where you could grapple. But he showed us now in the last 2 fights at least that even if a guy does close the distance on him, it's going to be very hard to take this guy down and to even do work on him if you do get him down. So, holy shit, dude, what a savage this guy is. That body shot was beautiful. And the wherewithal also to realize, like, hey, my head kick's not getting him out of there. I've shattered his fucking nose. His entire body is covered in blood. He keeps blowing his nose out. His eyes aren't puffing up somehow, some way. My straight lefts aren't working. My head kicks, like, they're working, but they're not putting him away. Even the body kicks, and then he goes, you know what? I'll just fucking dip and perfectly place one. Less surface area creates higher impact. Not that a kick, like, obviously a kick can create just as much power impact as a punch, but just having it be so, like, condensed into one area is probably what ended up putting Josh Fremd down. And because he's so fucking accurate with it, it was, goddamn, dude, savage. Absolutely savage. What a performance by Roman Kopylov. He also got performance of the night, and good, because he fucking deserved it. Moving up the card, Lupe Godinez versus Elise Reed. Now, I said in my picks video, Lupe Godinez could not get a finish to save her life, and she fucking did it, which I was very glad to see, because it was much more entertaining than a lot of her other fights. Credit to Elise Reed for not tapping in that armbar. That was savage of her. I feel like women just have insanely flexible arms or bones or something, dude, because we've seen guys get their arms snapped in arm bars that are not that tight. That was crazy. She just kept rolling her arm around, so she could never really get she couldn't really get good leverage on one particular area. So she was constantly moving, was able to fight out of it, but then really didn't have anything for her. Lupe Godinez was not just beating her on the ground, she was beating her on the feet, hurting her on the feet, in fact, and then made the ground game a whole lot easier for her. Glad to see her get a finish, because, as I said, up until this point, she hadn't got one, and her fights were kind of a little boring. But great performance by her. She also got a performance bonus, so good for her. Great fucking hell, dude. On Mexican Independence Day, that was crazy, right? Crazy. The crowd went nuts for her. But once you get in a choke, I mean, you know, you can tough out an armbar, or I guess until if they don't have the, you know, perfect leverage, but you can't really tough out a choke. So credit to Lupi Godinez for going to the choke as opposed to trying to go after another limb, because Elise Reed already showed us that she's let it break. Do you know what I mean? Moving up the card too, Fernando Padilla versus Kyle Nelson. Man, Kyle Nelson proved me wrong again. Okay, I don't know what it is about him. His style is not very pretty, and sometimes optically it doesn't look like he's doing as well as he is. But he was able to get it done, man. I guess the last 2 rounds. Now, there was another 30-27 card on there for some fucking reason, but it is what it is. Padilla just, it seemed like, man, very limited in his attack. His boxing is good, but Kyle Nelson was able to have a tight guard, not get cracked with a lot of shit past the first round. Now, he got cut and things like that, but, I mean, he was just, I don't know, he makes it ugly. He's got a weird style. And not ugly in the sense that it's like a crazy fucking dogfight, but just ugly in the sense that it doesn't look pretty, okay? But credit to him. The crowd couldn't stand him. I thought they were being a little cunty towards anybody that wasn't Mexican, but it is what it is, dude. They were in Las Vegas, you know what I mean? But I guess Canadians aren't all that loved down south, okay? Not that Vegas is down south, I mean south from us. And also it was pretty entertaining, but it wasn't like the best fight, and they had just watched some crazy fights before that, so it is what it is. But in that third round, or maybe it was the second, Kyle Nelson landed that head kick a couple times. It was just the foot, but still, optically, it looks good for the judges. And, yeah, dude's fucking big for featherweight. Padilla was taller and longer and things like that, but Kyle Nelson's, like, big and dense and, you know, whatever. Either way, Canadian gets it done. I picked the wrong Canadian, but it is what it is. Moving up the card too, Daniel ZELLHUBER versus Christos Giagos. I said in my chat that Giagos might have been a good underdog to pick, and it almost happened that way. He actually hurt ZELLHUBER in round number 1. ZELLHUBER, though, credit to him, he had a horrible first round, 12 strikes to 26, got wobbled, all that shit. And then in round 2, he comes back. He jumped on that choke so fucking fast. That was phenomenal. He hurts Christos Giagos, or Giagos, whatever, dude, on the feet. Dude panic shoots, and he just hops on that shit right away, locks it in, cinches it up. Giagos looked pissed after the fact, but hey, dude, it is what it is. Don't panic shoot the way that you did. Credit to ZELLHUBER, though, because he made adjustments mid-fight and showed us that, you know, he can latch up a sub just as quick as he can knock you out. I was liking the activity also, because even before the finish in round number 2, he had landed 24 total strikes, which were all significant. So, and that was 47%, meaning he threw 51 strikes in total. Like to see it, because in his last couple, that was maybe a criticism that you could levy his way, was that he wasn't active enough, and had he been, those fights would have been a lot less close, especially his debut where he lost it. So, good on ZELLHUBER making the adjustments. Eric Nicksick, dude. I know the guy's, you know, it's like cool to say he's fucking phenomenal now, but I said this before the Strickland fight, okay? His in-between round advice is like some of the best. Him telling ZELLHUBER to occupy the right hand of Giagos with the kick was perfect. Money. ZELLHUBER did it a couple times, and you could see that it was working. And just, he's just so good at giving advice. He sees shit very, very clearly. And he gives very good advice, and he does so clearly. So, credit to ZELLHUBER, his team, dude, the coach. Eric Nicksick is fucking phenomenal. Anyways, moving up the card, too. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Terrence Mitchell. All right, I picked Rosas to win. The favorite seemed crazy. Not that he was a favorite, but the amount seemed fucking crazy, okay? But Terrence Mitchell, I said this, man, like, yeah, he's got some finishes, he looks good on the ground and shit like that, but he's fighting in Alaska Fight Club, just like Cornhusker Fight Club. I don't know the kind of competition they have over there is all that legit. And Raul Rosas Jr., credit to him, dude, for being 18 years old and not letting that last fight fuck with you mentally. He looked way better on the feet than he's ever looked, obviously, but not just because he dropped him. his distance. He was so quick to hop in and out of range. He would land shots, hop out, like immediately. He was very, very quick with his movement, and that was a fucking crazy knockdown. I didn't think that he had that kind of power. Now maybe Terrence Mitchell's just got a glass chin, but who knows? 54 fucking seconds. We've seen him dominate on the ground. I think he has one knockout on his record before this. It might have even been a TKO, like on the ground. Who knows? But fucking hell, dude. Phenomenal. Phenomenal performance. He got a performance of the night. That's why there was no fight of the night, man. Because they gave out so many performance bonuses. Whatever. It is what it is. Good for Rosas Jr., man. To have the mental fortitude to come back after a loss like that, where you've got all this hype on you, and you essentially get manhandled, you get kind of almost exposed in certain areas, is pretty admirable considering his age. Okay, yeah, Terrence Mitchell. I mean, they did kind of bring him in to fight Raul Rosas Jr., so it's not like this is some UFC vet who's had crazy wins or anything like that. I said this in my picks video. The only two guys that he's fought that are, pretty high level, he's lost to. So, great performance by Raul Rosas Jr. Good for him, dude, getting a KO on his record, showing improvements in the striking department. He didn't even really try to grapple. I think they clinched. They might have tied up for a moment, but he kept it on the feet. He was winging shots like fucking crazy, and eventually caught him, dropped him, and finished it off the ground. And Pound was nasty. He wanted to get him out of there right quick. Moving up the card to Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Split decision's a little wild to me. Jack Della Maddalena, 1-3. I picked Holland to win. I said I wasn't overly confident in it, but I wasn't overly confident in picking Jack Della Maddalena either, because I didn't think he'd be able to finish Holland, and I wasn't sure how he would deal with the length, how he would deal with Kevin Holland's power, because Randy Brown isn't going to knock you out. You know what I mean? It's like Kevin Holland's like a better Randy Brown on the feet, and he's not going to get submitted as easily as Randy Brown got submitted. And Jack Della Maddalena's last performance was iffy. Now, on the feet he looked good, but his grappling was... the decision-making was poor. That's basically what it came down to. Not so much a certain area of offense or defense, but the decision-making was what the problem was for me. And I thought, if you do some shit like that on Kevin Holland, he can latch up a submission on you. Both of these guys were very good defensively. Now, Jack Della Maddalena made Kevin Holland miss a hell of a lot more than Kevin Holland made Jack Della Maddalena miss, but a lot of the shots that Della Maddalena were landing, I thought that they weren't giving Holland's defense enough credit on the strike count. And I'm not saying that he won the fight. I see that he outlanded him. He landed at a way less clip, right? JDM was at 55%. Holland was at a 36% clip. That's not great, but Holland was kind of implementing the Strickland. He was inspired by Sean Strickland, using the Philly shell a little bit. Shoulder roll. He leans back. He's so long that when he leans back, it's hard for you to hit him clean. He was a lot of this shit was, coming over the shoulder, not really landing. JDM landed a few shots with his left hand. I just said few shits, dude. A few shots with the left-handed. The body work from Della Maddalena for me was what did it. His combinations where he would dig to the body, they were loud, optically pleasing shots for the judges, and just he landed the cleaner shots. Do you know what I mean? A lot of shit that Kevin Holland threw also and landed also was going off the guard of Jack Della Maddalena. Wasn't necessarily landing clean. It was a good fight, man. It was not as exciting as I thought it might be, but it was a fun fight. And JDM bounced back victory. Good for him, dude. I wasn't sure how he would do moving forward. Now, he did struggle. Like, this was not an easy fight for him. Although he didn't look damaged. Like, neither of guys really took a whole lot of damage. Do you know what I mean? But moving forward, it's going to be interesting seeing him paired up with the guys at the top of welterweight. Because there might be a size issue. Also, he doesn't seem like the biggest 170er. Now, he is thick. Like, dude's legs are massive. His back's big. Like, he's a dense figure. But it's going to be interesting. I'm glad he got the victory. I said that in my picks video that I wanted JDM to win because I want to see him go forward. I want to see what it's like when he, fights the guys at the top of the division. And we know that Kevin Holland doesn't really want to do that. He doesn't give a fuck about the belt. He's happy with how much he gets paid. He wants to just have fun fights, and it's, you know what I mean? And he flipped out on that fucking reporter for asking him a question about it. But yeah, man, good performance by Jack Della Maddalena. I don't know how Kevin Holland was acting like he got robbed. Also, you know, it's a weird one. I didn't see a robbery there. I mean, maybe if I'm not seeing something, let me know in the comment sections. I'll go back and rewatch it in half speed or something like I did for the main event. But to me, that was a clear. I gave Kevin Holland round 2. I gave Jack Della Maddalena round 1. And I gave Jack Della Maddalena round 3. Round 3 for me was the easiest round to score. But either way, moving up the card. Great fight. Good performance by JDM. Credit to him. Moving up the card, too. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Okay, this is a weird one, man. Mike Bell is a fucking idiot, first of all. The problem, dude, I wouldn't want to live in a world, my nose is itchy. I wouldn't want to live in a world where a judge, an MMA judge, is like a famous public figure getting sponsorship deals and shit like that. But I almost do want them to be public figures because they need to get their comment sections flooded. They need to get their DMs flooded. They need to understand how badly they fucked up. Now, thankfully, neither of these ladies, I would at least assume not, right, are on a show and win base. Because otherwise, I would be fucking way more livid than I am with Mike Bell. Because you can't do that to like, it's just fucking hell. Either way, dude. He should have to answer. We should be able to sit in front of Mike Bell, although we would need better reporters than the ones we fucking have. We would need, like, real hardcore MMA fans that know the scoring criteria to sit in front of this motherfucker and be like, excuse me, sir. How is that a 10-8 round? And watch him stumble his way through that. Watch him fucking stutter and shit through that. There's no way you can give that a 10-8 round. Now, initially when I watched this fight the first time, watching it live, obviously, right? I thought Shevchenko round 1, Grasso round 2, Shevchenko dominated round 3. If there's any round that's a 10-8, it's that one, but it's not. Round 4, I thought went to Grasso in my, like, when I first watched it live. That's what my initial thought was Grasso. And then round 5, Valentina Shevchenko, worst decision-making of all time in a championship fight in round 5 I've ever seen. She was doing work on the feet. Grasso looked slow and tired and a little battered. Shevchenko was tagging her on the feet. Jabs, her straight left. She's really only got... I'll get to her in a second, dude. She was landing good shots on the feet, and then she goes for some fucking bullshit head and arm throw. They're sweaty, slippery. Fucking Grasso's head is bleeding. There's lubricants everywhere. Why did you do that? That was the worst decision making I've ever fucking seen in my life. And lost her that round. Which if she would have won that round, she's walking away the champion. So watching it live, I thought Grasso won rounds 2, 4, and 5. And then I was iffy on how that cut happened. And I wanted to take a look at those knees in slow motion. So I went just before I started recording. I watched the fight over in half speed. Round 4 is what I watched. Because all of the other rounds, in my opinion, are very easy to score. Shevchenko 1, Grasso 2, Shevchenko 5. Shevchenko 3 and Grasso 5. So 2-2. Round 4, we need to figure it out. I watched it in half speed. Those knees were a lot bigger in the moment live than they were going back and rewatching it in slow motion. They just didn't land the same way that I thought they would, or that I thought they did. And Shevchenko wasn't affected by them. Now, she was trying to complain to the referee. Now, maybe optically that was a bad thing, and maybe that stuck in the judge's mind. But she wasn't rocked. She wasn't wobbling. She was trying to get away from them, but she wasn't panicking. And perhaps she was complaining to the referee, not that her hand was down, but that they were to the back of the head. Because her hand wasn't down when they landed, right? Grasso was doing a very good job at moving her back, lifting Valentina's hand up. And also, I'm pretty sure she has to have a knee fucking down anyways. So it's not like, that's not doing it, dude. That's not enough. But a couple of them landed to the back of the head. A couple of them landed here. So not head, shoulder, neck area. One of them landed clean, pretty clean, kind of top side of the head area. They were not as significant as I initially thought they were when I watched them live, which is why I went back and rewatched the fight in slow motion before I recorded it, because I wanted to have a clear fucking recollection of it, right? And then later on in the problem with this round for a judge, from a judging perspective, is it was really back and forth. They both had moments. So it depends what you remember, right? Like if something makes you forget something else, it's unfortunate, but it happens. Shevchenko opens her up with a pretty big elbow on the they were clinched up after, I think they were on the ground. They stand back up. Shevchenko gets her with a right elbow as they're breaking. Grasso's on the fence trying to move away, and it cuts her open. And so that's a good strike right there. Damage. She caused damage to the face of Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso didn't cause any visible damage to her, at least with those knees. And we didn't see her stumble. We didn't see her wobble. We didn't see her knees buckle. We didn't, you know what I mean? So we can't assume that those strikes had as big of an impact as they might have looked to us live, because they didn't really impact her. She was moving back. She had the wherewithal to try and talk to the referee. I wish we could hear what she said, if she was complaining about it being to the back of the head or that she was down. But they weren't really effective. That elbow's effective, though, because she sliced her open. Landed clean, right on the side of the eyebrow, right? And then later on in that round, throughout the whole round, Valentina Shevchenko's popping her with the jab. Right on her nose, right on the mush, like over and over and over again, kind of making Alexa Grasso do this like every time. 50 seconds left in the round, if I'm not mistaken. Valentina Shevchenko lands a good right hook. This was something that I liked seeing from her, because I want to talk about her offense in a second. But she has like the same fucking combination that she almost spams, right? She jabs with the right hand. She steps head off the center line to her right and throws the left hand cross, because you move that way, it kind of lines up the left hand cross perfectly. But she does it over and over and over again. It's a good combination. I mean, it's a basic one. Basic, good, effective. But she just does it too much, in my opinion. But she tagged a right hook on the end of one of her combinations, and she cracked Alexa Grasso. Kind of wobbled her for a second. There's 50 seconds left in the fight. And I didn't notice it live in full speed, but when I watched it in half speed, you can really see the impact that it has, because Grasso kind of like does one of these for a second. And then you got to look at the, holy shit. You don't have to, actually. The striking numbers were even, right? But it was clear to me who did more damage on the feet, and that was Shevchenko, after watching it back. Because the knees were not as effective as I thought they were. This might be a hot fucking take, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't like Shevchenko and are kind of annoyed by her, but if you're willing to keep an open mind, go back and watch round 4 in slow motion. I don't know if any of you have Fight Pass, but that's how I do it. Like, those knees were not as effective as they looked live, as they appeared to be. They didn't really land clean. They didn't rock Shevchenko. We didn't see her knees buckle. We saw her protest to the referee, so maybe that was optically not a good thing on her part, because it makes us think that they are bothering her. I would be very curious to know if she was complaining about back of the head or the fact that she was down. I feel like she would know that she's not down. I know she was trying to get her hand down, but fuck, man. The knees weren't as big as I thought they were. And then that elbow cutting her open on the feet, that's big. The right hook wobbling her on the feet, that's big. The jab popping her over and over and over again, that's big. So in my opinion, effective striking was not even. Valentina Shevchenko did more damage on the feet. And I would, watching it back with half speed, which the judges don't have they can't do that, right? They're not going to sit down the day after, rewatch a fight, make sure they got it correct, which is unfortunate. Obviously, it would be kind of anticlimactic to have a draw in the cage, and then a day later they overturn it to it. Like, it would just be kind of a strange scenario, but I would, based on that, right, I would have to do Shevchenko rounds 1, 3, and 4. And round 5 in no which way, shape, or form is a 10-8 ever. Now, a criticism I have of Shevchenko, and I'm not fucking screaming robbery here, okay? I'm not. If you scored it for Grasso, understandable. It just is. It's understandable. So, yeah, not shitting on anybody. I'm not even shitting on the judge that gave Shevchenko round 4, or that gave Grasso round 4. The judge that scored the last round of 10-8 is the fucking Muppet here, okay? He just is. That was a horrible scorecard. And Yeah, on the night especially, I'm not blaming anybody for scoring it for Grasso. After the fact, if you rewatch round 4, it's a little harder to do that. But it is what it is, because also at the end of that round, that heel hook, I mean, we don't even really have to go to effective grappling, because in my opinion, Shevchenko did more damage in the effective striking department. But if you want to go there, that heel hook was not in. Like, it just wasn't. Valentina's knee was not past a point where she would be concerned about it, which is why she kind of just sat there till the bell rang. And that takedown from Grasso, at the time, again, live, optically pleasing, looked very good. Shevchenko kind of caught herself, man, with her arms and her knees. Like, it wasn't some huge slam that caused a ton of damage. She tried to transition into an armbar and got reversed almost instantly. So you don't really get to factor in that stuff when the effective striking is not even. And I'm not saying based on numbers, because based on numbers, 20-19, like, insignificant strikes, I mean, that's about as even as it gets. But you have to look at damage that is caused by a fighter. And Shevchenko caused more damage in that round. Wobbled Grasso for a second. I'm not talking like a Kevin Lee Bambi legs wobble, but like made her do a little stutter step. Do you know what I mean? And then the cut from the elbow. It wasn't a tiny little slicer on the ground. It wasn't a tiny little slice in the clinch. It wasn't a fucking the finger hole of the glove just scraping. It was a good elbow on the break that opened up that cut. So I would give round 4 to Shevchenko, which would be 48-47 Valentina Shevchenko. But Mike Bell says, fuck no. I'm making it a draw, dude. Now, something that I have a problem with Shevchenko is that her offense, to me, we've never really had to see it until she fights Alexa Grasso, is so fucking limited, dude. Because her lead leg, dude, with Wonder Boy, his lead leg is so educated, which I feel like is what gives his opponent so many problems, because the way he moves, you can't tell if something's coming from the lead leg, and you know that he has a ton of weapons off that lead leg in both stances, or is he throwing something back leg? Now, there is certain stances that he'll go to throw certain shit, but by the time he gets there, you might already be confused, because he's already given you so many looks. Grasso came out in round 1, orthodox, and I thought, oh my god, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? You had so much success against her on the feet in the southpaw position. You're giving her her body kick. That's one of her Valentina's best weapons. Round kick to the body off the back leg. One of her best weapons. And she threw it immediately. And it was hard and impactful. Like, you could hear it. Grasso eventually, a couple minutes later, switched into southpaw. And I thought that's what you should be doing. Because she's in southpaw. That body kick's not there anymore. And if she does try to throw it, she's lined up for a straight left down the middle counter. Not ideal. The way that it's going to land to the body is not ideal. Not as ideal as it would be if they were that way, because the target is now a lot smaller. If they're in orthodox and you're in southpaw, you're hitting like all of that area. If she's in southpaw and you're in southpaw, you can throw that kick. You're just really kind of hitting like the fucking hip or whatever. Not the hip, the waist, or you know what the fuck I mean, dude. Who cares? She needs more offense off of her lead leg, because these girls are getting better. And if there's a girl that's a good on the feet who just stands in southpaw, Valentina, half of her weapons are gone. It's crazy. And it's crazy that she doesn't make the adjustment to start throwing that to the leg. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy that to me that she doesn't have a big switch kick off of her lead leg. How do you not have a big switch kick? I've seen you throw crazy kicks. You've got a good spin, you've got a good wheel kick, you've got a good spinning back kick, you've got a good round kick. They're all off the back leg though. Her lead leg is not nearly as educated as her back leg. And I thought that would have been something that she went back and made improvements on, because of the fact that Grasso came out southpaw in the last fight. So you're going to have to figure out something else. Do you know what I mean? Now, she did a good job at not getting hit with a lot of the shit that she was getting hit with in that first fight. But that was a good fucking fight, man. It's unfortunate that it went to a draw. But I feel like this way there's less people arguing about it, which is weird. People are all just mad at Mike Bell. It kind of just took the whatever. So, anyways, dude. Grasso looked very good also. I mean, that was a good fucking fight, man. Like, credit to both these ladies. That was phenomenal. Now, just recap it quickly. This video's gone on a little bit longer than some of my other recaps, so I apologize for that. But initially, watching it live, I scored it for Grasso. Rounds 2, 4, and 5. Watching it back this morning, in half speed, I give Shevchenko round 4. So I score round 1, 3, and 4 for Shevchenko, 2 and 5 for Grasso. Let me know what you guys scored it initially. Let me know if you guys have watched it back and scored it something different now that you've had time to decompress, watch it, and think a little more clearly when it's not in the moment live and we're watching this crazy fight. That was a fantastic fight night in my opinion, dude. I wish they would give us cards like this more often, but you know what? When they do, it feels a hell of a lot more special because we're so used to bullshit cards for fight nights. So, let me know what you guys thought of the main event, the co-main event, all that good shit, dude, in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, I apologize this one's gone on a little longer than normal, but it is what it is, dude. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.